The Longhorns and the Sooners getting after it this Saturday afternoon at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. The Red River Showdown is happening, and for once, it doesn't start before noon. Join us for the pregame at 2:30 and the kickoff at 2:30. Interesting. Maybe the pregame starts a little earlier than 2:30, but the kickoff is at 2:30, and it is here on your home for Longhorn football. That would be Fox Sports 1700.
And that should be as exciting as a USA soccer match.
Well, that soccer match was pretty exciting if you wanted your team to win, and Oklahoma's coming off one of the biggest losses in years. Iowa State was a 31-point favorite. Let's not forget that.
Henry's getting Coach Patrick Brown on, but I actually want to talk about kind of the U.S. soccer team. I know it's a football show, but how long until high schools in the Valley or in the U.S. decide that like certain programs, like maybe soccer and things like that, should go towards a club and not high school? Because if you look at the world, basketball in France and soccer in like where I grew up in South America,
hockey
Argentina,
in Canada,
they're club teams, they're juniors, things of that sort, where you can actually cut a kid. In public schools, it's very hard to cut a kid, and in some cases, I'm not saying that I have this for experience, because I usually had some of the tougher kids because I coaching sub-varsity, but sometimes a parent gets their kid on the team and he gets it sometimes. Not saying it happens very often, but it does. In some programs where you see a kid, how is he playing? How long until the U.S. goes to this program where, certain programs are going to be pushed towards, like soccer, should go towards maybe.
I think because it is soccer, it's not being pushed. It's just not one of our traditional sports. I mean, growing up, I didn't know anybody who played soccer. Now I'm older than both of you guys. But and then they tried a soccer league, and it died. Mm-hmm. And I think if it was basketball, you saw what happened in the Olympics when we don't win basketball. Let's find a way to get the pros to go play. And baseball, kind of the same kind of deal happened. But I hope I'm wrong, but I think because it's soccer, it may not happen too fast.
Well, go ahead.
Here's my problem with the way soccer is done in youth sports in America is the fact that it seems like the only players that they're getting are rich players from rich schools who can afford to go out and join rich clubs and go in elite and travel, and we're not getting the numbers from the poorer parts of the country. We're not getting the numbers from the number of Hispanic kids from Miami, from South Florida, from South Texas, from the Rio Grande Valley. Kids who grow up with a soccer ball between their feet. We're not getting enough of those kids. They're paying too much for coaches. They're paying too much to be in clubs. They're not finding the amount of kids. You need to find more of them, and there's plenty of them to find. You just have to be able to give them the opportunities that the other kids. It doesn't make sense that there's more kids from Frisco and Southlake that are playing in the U.S. soccer academies than there are from Brownsville, Lopez, and Hidalgo. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me.
It's I hate to say this, and it's going to sound really mean, but a lot of parents spend.
In that case, you'll be loving to say it. Yeah,
yes,
go ahead.
Love it. A lot of parents spend money on AAU.
Sure.
And I used to work with a guy who's the AAU president for wrestling, and of the entire country. And wrestling's different, and he'd tell me the same thing. Basketball is its own beast, and it's taken on a life of its own. I almost think AAU should be imploded for basketball.
Well, especially with what's happening now.
Yeah, especially what's happening now.
Yeah.
I think 7-on-7's going that route also. But I think that a lot of parents spend money on basketball thinking that their kid's going to get a scholarship. And if you look at it, it's not really a scholarship anymore. It's, they're going to a D3 with Pell Grants and things of that sort. And they get to continue playing. I understand. That's great. But, AAU is not what you see in other countries. Like, juniors are way different. What you see in soccer, almost like the Toros are doing now. They have their own academy and things of that sort. I don't know if those kids have a chance to ever make the Toros. But
they will. That's the whole thing. That's the whole development academy system.
But I would hope, because the talent alone in the Valley for soccer and baseball lends itself to it. I mean, we should have a baseball academy.
There's one in Corpus.
Yeah, and there's the baseball factory up there too.
And Team Sidious.
Yeah. And and I know like San Antonio has the sliders, I think, and stuff like that, and that's where Today's Sparta played. And I understand those, but I don't know. I think that eventually, they're going to have to decide if UIL should keep these sports when it's almost becoming a two-headed monster.
Well, you got to keep the sports. You got to. Yeah. I mean, the UIL's got to keep them.
But now they're talking about doing coaching all year round, and that's going to be another beast.
That's going to be the academies. Yeah. The academies will do that, and there's room for both. There's enough kids who play soccer to where it's good for both.
Now, here's the kicker. I saw that in volleyball, you can be a college volleyball coach and work with high school players.
Right.
Which I don't understand that rule
you can
because
do that at camps.
like they have them like a certain facility in the valley allows you to do that. But we'll get back to that towards the end of the show. We got somebody on the line. Clay, who do we have?
Hey, it's Coach Patrick Brown of the Los Fresnos Falcons, who is joining us today on the Huddle on Fox Sports 1700 and 956sports.com. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic, Coach. Fantastic. Tell me about your team right now and where you're at the halfway point of the season and how you feel about this team as you head into the biggest part of your district play.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty excited the way we responded after a tough San Benito loss, and I thought our kids played tough, and I think our offense is starting to click a little bit. I think we've got a lot of young kids that have grown up now, and our defense is just playing lights out, as good as defense I've ever been around. So we're very excited about where we are right now.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that defense, Coach. I mean, you guys, you played right with San Benito until the end. Your defense, like you said, one of the best, not only in the district but in the valley. Is this what you envisioned when you got everybody together for two-a-days back in August? Is this the kind of defense you thought you'd have, or perhaps they exceeding your expectations?
Well, to be quite honest, they're exceeding my expectation. I think we've had 9 this year, 9 fourth down stops. We've only given up one and those are fourth and shorts, which has never happened in my 18-year career. But I did think that early in the year we were going to need to lean on our defense in order to be successful, offensively. And I think because we do so much one-on-one stuff, our offense gets whipped so much at the beginning of the year that they're starting to give it back now. So we're starting to become a more well-rounded team, and we're very excited because we're getting the heart and soul of our team back this week. He had knee surgery about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Sebastian Gonzalez. We're going to get him back, and so we're very excited about that.
That's incredible, Coach, that your defense has been able to perform so well without Sebastian, who, like you say, he's kind of the team leader. I remember talking to him before the season started. Were you worried how the defense would perform without him? Because, he's the man in the middle.
Well, I was very concerned, and then his backup, when we played McAllen Memorial, had a injury, and he's out for the year. And so for the last couple of weeks, we've played with 2 sophomores. One is the sophomore JV safety, and the other one is our sophomore JV linebacker. And those 2 moved up and have really done an exceptional job. And I was tickled to death that those guys could step up for us in Sebastian's place, and we're happy now that we have a lot of depth at that position.
Coach, this is Jake Berry. I was at the McAllen Memorial game. I had to do the pregame show for them.
Yes, sir.
And before the game, going into that, did you think you were going to be able? Your defense was going to come in there and really stop the running game of McAllen Memorial and dare them to throw?
Well, I tell you what, I think we all know McAllen Memorial is scary. When you have Spates back there and the big free safety kid. I was seriously concerned, and that was our first game playing without Sebastian and our biggest playmaker on offense, which is Nico, our sophomore wide receiver. And so we were very concerned, and to be honest with you, I was surprised at the outcome of that game. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, because you guys really controlled the second half, especially because ball tempo, ball control. You really had it going on that game.
Absolutely, and I really think that's when Charles Topper really came into his own as a quarterback and showed that he could put this team on his back when we need him, and I think since since that game on, we've been playing with a tremendous amount of confidence.
Talk a little bit about Charles Chapa, your quarterback. Like you say, your offense, you're averaging 31 points a game, probably a little more than that over the last 3 games. What is it that he does so well to execute in this offense?
Well, I think that he throws the ball. Last year we had Mata. Mata could get us out of a lot of situations with his feet, whereas Charles is not quite as athletic as him run-wise, but he really makes great decisions throwing the ball. And, a lot of his incompletions this year are balls that have hit receivers right in the chest and they've dropped. So he really understands his pre-snap reads, and he understands who's going to be open, where our mismatches are. And he's done if you take away the head couch game, he's done a great job of taking care of the ball and not putting us in bad situations.
You say he's maybe not the runner that Mark Mata was, but he's got just as many touchdowns on the ground as he does through the air. I guess that decision making can really help him when he sees a hole open up in front of him.
Well, and one thing that Charles does is he is fantastic when we run our zone or stretch and reading guys. And this last week, when we played South, we had some DNs and outside linebackers really collapse on our A-back, and to be honest with you, he fooled me twice. I thought we'd gotten tackled at one, and all of a sudden I see him flip the ref the ball, and he really, really does a good job at pulling that ball when those guys are trying to collapse down on our zone play.
Coach, this week you've got a desperate team coming your way in Weslaco East, and obviously preseason expected to contend for the district title, but right now, with all the injuries they've got, with losing, their running back and their all-around receiver flanker guy, this is a team that's coming into your place, into Leo Aguilar Stadium, and they are in desperate need of a win. What are you expecting from them whenever you see them, even with all the injuries that have riddled their team?
Well, that's a proud program, and they take a lot of pride, just like we do in being a physical football team. And to be quite honest with you, when you have your star players, you know what to expect from another team. They're going to do what they do, and you've got to stop it. They're really scary coming into a game like this because you don't know, are they going to go to a 5-wide system and let their quarterback throw it around, because he can throw it as good as anybody in the Valley, or, as a sophomore kid like for us, do they have a sophomore that's going to step up? Or, we just don't know what they're going to hang their hat on this week. So it's been a tough week of practice, and we're trying to prepare for a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you talked about their quarterback, Weslaco East, Richard Lefevre. He's a big dude, Coach.
Well, he's bigger than our linemen and their linemen combined. So, and I think he falls forward for 4.5 yards. So I think he could run quarterback sneak all the way down the field and score. But yeah, and you know what, people in around the RGV just don't give him enough credit for the way he can throw the ball, because that's not what their offense is based around. But I tell you, he throws as good as, besides the kid we played from Lake Travis last year, he throws as good as anybody I've seen since I've been down here.
Wow, that's a big compliment. Coach, I'm looking at your schedule, though, and, you've got kind of a meet of, you played San Benito, Harlingen South, now Weslaco East, but now you have Hannah right after this. Your district has become, when I say parity, in a good way. There are so many good teams in your district this year.
Well, and I've always said it's almost like the SEC of high school football down here. It's Florida and LSU and Tennessee every week. You don't get that. Okay, let's get healthy this week. Let's we're going to pull back on practice, because every week is really a bloodbath. It is unbelievable, and like you guys were talking about earlier, an injury here or there can really disrupt your season, and it's just a tough district. But the one thing that our district does prepare us for is those 4 teams that make the playoffs. They are battle tested and fear nobody. So, if you can make it through our district, you can make it through almost anything.
That's true, and at least looking at it right now, it looks like you guys are going to have the same outcome in the playoffs that you guys had last year as far as the first round. You guys are so tough, and it's been impressive this year.
Well, you know what? I think one of the best things that we decided to do that really set the tone for the season is when we went up and decided we were going to scrimmage San Antonio Southwest and Midland Lee. And obviously Midland Lee is just killing teams. They're undefeated. You know, they dropped 50, 60 points on Abilene High. I mean, they're really a good football team. And Southwest now is 4-1 and you know, got after United South this last week. And that scrimmage just kind of set the tone for our entire season. I think it was one of the better decisions we made as a coaching staff.
Coach, I wanted to ask you real quick before we have to go. You know, you went up to San Antonio. You've got those connections up there because you coached there. You also coached in El Paso. I'm interested in your thoughts on Valley football and just how it fits into the culture and the kids and just maybe the differences or the similarities between San Antonio, El Paso, and here.
Well, I'll tell you this, and this is something I've said. I think it's in El Paso, and I think it's down here. The coaching down here is second to none. I mean, a lot of we played, and I don't want to disparage San Antonio coaches, but you know, when we played San Antonio schools, you know, we had teams that never adjusted at halftime, didn't do anything to counter what we were doing. But down here, I mean, they know everything. I would love to take a staff down here and a staff anywhere else in the state of Texas, give them the same players, and watch what the outcome would be. I guarantee the Rio Grande Valley would dominate that game because and this is not, you know, to be over the top, but I really feel like the coaching down here is second to none. I really believe that.
Well, that is a big compliment, and you're part of that as well down here in the Rio Grande Valley. Coach Patrick Brown of the Los Fresnos Falcons, want to thank you so much for joining us here on Fox Sports 1700 AM and joining us on the Huddle. Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck this week.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good day.
You too, Coach.
Right. Patrick Brown, Los Fresnos.
We got to stop putting coaches that that you're doing their game.
Well, it's hard, you know, to ask him a question that, you know, that could tilt his hand. I would like to know how he felt about the East defense a little bit because they're going to have to hold it together until the offense figures it out. And doing that in the middle of the season isn't always easy.
Well, he did let you know that he's got a player coming back, so that's that's one more guy to
on his defense.
Defense.
Sebastian Gonzalez is one of the best. But I mean, I'm interested to hear what you think, Coach. About his thought that he played teams in San Antonio that didn't make halftime adjustments, but he thinks that the coaching staffs down here are as good as he's seen anywhere in the state.
Well, I totally agree with that. I coached in Colorado, coached in Utah, coached some college football, and when I came here, I was totally impressed with the study habits of the coaches. Not, I grew up, everybody I coached with played college ball. Even some of them played NFL ball. And for a large part down here, a lot of these coaches went to Pan Am. They don't even have football. Mm-hmm. But they've done a great job of going to clinics.
They're undefeated.
Going to camps, going places to learn, asking questions, and really have been, the first people throwing the ball in Texas were in the Valley. The first people doing all kinds of different things started in the Valley. And, we get 3 rounds deep and we run into a Cedar Park or a Cibolo Steel, and it doesn't matter if they adjust at halftime or not.
Yeah.
But I've had those coaches say, you know what, you guys are well coached, kids play hard, and that's all a coach can ask for a kid is those things.
It certainly is. And we are coming right back on the Huddle on Fox Sports 1700 and 956sports.com, getting you ready for the next week, Week 7 of Valley High School football. We'll be right back.